Hi everyone, welcome to Gutentea. I'm your host, Ozan, and I'm so glad you are here with me today. What fear or fears quietly follow you through your days, your years, even when life looks fine on the outside? You know, we all have fears. Some of them are small, some of them are big, some of them we don't even understand how they become our fears or where they come from. Most of our fears have gradually come into existence and become a pattern in our lives. Yes, we allow them to take space in our lives over time. They become so normal, we don't even question them anymore. But if a stranger would walk into your home, you would question their intentions. But we don't do that with our fears. We keep going as if everything is normal until they become so big we can no longer control them. So, where do our fears come from? They come from personal experiences, from our environment, such as our home, having a parent who was anxious, a little bit too controlling, criticize us a little bit too much. At school, having a teacher who shamed our mistakes or did not believe in us. At church or any other places you visit often, having feelings of exclusion or not belonging. So we learn to fear. And those moments shape us throughout our lives. Those embarrassing moments can also teach our brain to associate certain situations with danger. Our fears also come from our culture and social influences. Some cultures place a lot of emphasis on fear of failure. Others emphasize fear of social rejection or dishonor. Social media, for example, can amplify certain fears by repeating or dramatizing certain narratives. Our fears can even come from our own imagination and anticipation. We fear what might happen instead of what is happening. As humans, we are very good at telling ourselves stories about the unknown or the future. And there are times we make those stories so scary that they create anxiety in our lives and amplify our fears. We're also wired differently on how we respond to certain fears based on our genetics and our temperament. So, what are you afraid of? What are some of the fears that have stopped you or continue to get in the way of you accomplishing your dreams or even taking a step forward toward the things you want to do? So let's start with me. What am I afraid of? Well, I am afraid of a lot of things. Or I may say I used to be afraid of way more things that I'm afraid of now. Some of my fears have stemmed from the same things I mentioned before: environment, school, places I frequent often. But also, they have stemmed from a lack of exposure, from people not believing in me, from being counted out before I even began, from not being included at times, and from my own insecurities. I fear failure, even though I don't think I've never really succeeded at anything big. I fear public speaking, being judged, being exposed to a large group of people or social media platforms. I fear being abandoned, poverty, extreme heights, or homelessness. I don't even know where some of these fears come from. I must tell you though, I have been working through my fears. That's why I can be here talking to you today. You know, this podcast was supposed to happen more than 7 years ago. I shared that with my niece, one of my nieces, and she reminded me the last time, Auntie, you know, you've been wanting to do this more than 7 years ago. What is stopping you? And it was fear. fear of being judged, fear of not having important things to share, fear of people judging me because of my accent or because of different reasons. I kept moving the dates. Sometimes I would go a year without thinking about it. Then it would resurface. It became the thing I could not let go of. As you can see, I'm working on overcoming this fear. So I'm going to share with you the steps I have taken to work through my fears. And you can too. First, ask yourself whether the fear is real or not. Is it even your fear? Or did someone else project their own fear on you? Dig deep to see if you can remember the origin of the fear, because if you can know where the fear comes from, you can most likely work toward overcoming it. How often do you encounter the fear? Is it something that is likely to happen, or is it a phobia? Or if the fear does happen, how will it affect you? Or will it affect you at all? What will you lose or what will you gain by facing the fear? By asking yourself these questions, you can discover whether the fear is real or irrational. Tackling those questions also pushes you beyond your fear and positions you to uncover new opportunities you have never considered. Second, ask yourself whether you have control over the fear or not. So, for example, there is a difference between the fear of being judged or the fear of public speaking. Although there is a component of being judged in public speaking, but they are not the same. Or the fear of earthquakes compared to the fear of poverty. One of them you can continuously work on because you have control over it. That's the fear of public speaking or the fear of poverty. The other two, you don't have any control over them. An earthquake will happen and people will judge you no matter what you do. Third, once you determine which fears you can control and which one you cannot, put them in separate categories. Although there are things you can do to keep yourself safe during a hurricane or a flood, but you still cannot control them. Fourth, focus more on the fears you can control and work on them one by one. It's not going to be easy. You're going to struggle. You're going to stop. You're going to go again. But promise yourself and commit to take the first step. For me, I tackled public speaking in graduate school. One of my professors recorded one of our presentations for us to watch later. After I watched this presentation, I became so alarmed that I didn't even recognize myself. I didn't know who was speaking. I didn't recognize my voice, my gestures. And I began taking steps to face my fear. I worked day and night on my presentation, the next one, to the point of over-preparing. I prepared in the bathroom, in the shower, while I was driving, while I was cooking, while I was taking walks. And I did better on the next one. So for me, over-preparing helped me in reducing the fear of speaking, although it does not eliminate it. I have given other presentations. Some were more nerve-wracking than others, where I was shaking, my heart was pounding, I was hyperventilating, and even at times crying beforehand. But I came through only because I over-prepared. The fear of speaking in front of a camera or being judged on social media is one I recently started working on. As you can see, it's going to be a process, not a destination. You too can take steps to work on your fears one by one. You can rationalize the fears or work to overcome them by asking yourselves what the purpose of the fear is. And what are you accomplishing by holding on to it? Once you realize that the fear has no purpose, the experiences you gain from facing it can become opportunities for growth, learning, and discovery. Facing your fears also helps you avoid rushing into false narratives while enjoying the process. This is so liberating. For me, I focused so much on succeeding that I became afraid of even taking the first step. So, be bold. I'm trying to be. Work toward conquering your fears. In the end, you will gain more than you will ever lose. And remember, it doesn't matter how many times you tried and failed. The most important thing is that you have the courage to try at all. I would love to hear whether this conversation resonates with you. Please join the mailing list below and share your experiences with me. If you want to support this show, please write a review. It is very helpful in getting new people to discover the show. I welcome your questions and topic ideas. Please share them with me. I would love to take time to answer your questions and have a conversation with you. May something here meet you where you are and walk with you for a little while. And wherever you are, whatever you carry, may this space remind you that renewal is possible and that you are not walking alone. Until next time.